Hi, my name is Jon Cho-Polizzi. I'm a freelance literary translator and a scholar of contemporary German literature based in Oakland, California. Today I'll be introducing Fatma Aydemir's 2022 sophomore novel, Djinns. Fatma Aydemir is an author, journalist, and activist based in Berlin, Germany. Her award-winning debut novel, Ellbogen, Elbow, was published in 2017 by Hansa Verlag and has since been adapted for the stage. In 2019, she co-edited the intersectional essay collection Eure Heimat ist unser Albtraum, Your Homeland is Our Nightmare, with fellow author Hengame Yagobifara. Set in the late 1990s, Aydemir's present work, Djinns, has been described by the German media as a family novel, but this work contains very little of the kind of warm and fuzzy feelings one might associate with this genre. Djinns is instead a family epic of Steinbeckian proportions, combining a poignant realism with a flair for juxtaposing the microcosm of human experience with the imponderable flood of historical calamity. The novel narrates the interrelated stories of 6 members of a Turkish-German immigrant family, stretching across 4 generations from a rural village in Kurdistan to the industrial cities of post-war Germany, through the triumphs and tragedies of German reunification and back to Istanbul on the eve of the 21st century. The journey of this family's immigration also serves to foreground the larger history of 20th century migration, post-war Germany's ongoing struggle to define itself against the continuities of overlapping violence which ripple beneath the surface of a reunified nation, the fears and aspirations of its disparate communities, and the multi-generational trauma which informs the ongoing experiences of daily life. The lives of the novel's protagonists are presented as 6 independent stories, seamlessly interwoven into the fabric of the larger novel, yet each told with its own unique narrative voice and perspective. Across decades and continents, the reader follows this family's shared experiences and traces their shared silences, the secrets which hold families together and simultaneously rend them apart. Along the way, the novel upends and confronts us with our own abilities to forge new connections and alliances, to love and permit ourselves to be loved, to speak, to fear, to live the lives we dare to imagine for ourselves. It challenges us to reflect upon the ways that we encounter, understand, and interact with the world around us, informed as we are by the inherited violence we all carry inside ourselves. Because as one of the novel's 6 protagonists herself poses, maybe fearing djinns is really more about not understanding what a djinn is. Is this any different with death? The vagueness, the uncertainty, the darkness people fear because these things are intangible, because we must fill in the emptiness with fantasy, and because there is nothing more wretched than our own fantasies. The following excerpt is from the first chapter of the novel, Hussein. The full sample translation of this chapter was featured as the February selection for the online translation section of Columbia Journal, and is also available from New Books in German. I would like to thank both Columbia Journal and New Books in German for making this material available, along with Translators Aloud, Hansa Verlag, and of course, Fatma Aydemir. Hussein, do you know who you are, Hussein? When you see the shining contours of your face in the reflection on the balcony door. When you open the door, stride across the balcony, and a warm breeze caresses your face, and the setting sun glimmers between the rooftops of the apartments in Zeytinburnu like a giant tangerine. You rub your eyes. Maybe you're thinking, maybe every obstacle and every conflict in this life was only there so that one day you could stand up here and know I've earned this for myself with the sweat of my brow. You hear the first evening call to prayer from the balcony of this apartment, this spacious 3-bedroom apartment on the 4th floor, the apartment you worked and saved for almost 30 years, while raising your 4 children and providing your wife an, albeit humble but never meager life. You lived your days to the rhythm of 3 shifts, Hussein. You took on every Sunday, every holiday, overtime, took advantage of every available bonus in the metalworks to make sure your family could get by, to buy new football cleats for the little one, to pay off the older one's debts and still set a little something aside. And now, you've finally done it. You're 59 and a homeowner. In a few years, when Umit finishes school and you can finally leave Germany, this cold, cold-hearted country, there'll be an apartment waiting for you in Istanbul, with your name at the door, Hussein. You finally found a place you can call home. Enjoy it, Hussein. Listen as the blaring music from the shops and the streets below grows quiet. Now, there is only the azan and the honking and the cries of the millions who must still navigate the streets and go about the business of their days. Hear the call of the gulls, inhale the humid air tinged with exhaust and the smell of burning rubbish. Let your gaze fall for a few moments on the bustle between the houses below before you go to pray. Istanbul, this splendid city over which so many centuries of wars were waged and so much blood was shed, and all for naught. For no one has understood that this city will never permit itself to be conquered by anyone. In the end, the city always conquers you. In the end, you will be nothing more than another layer of dust on the earth, beneath the feet of new conquerors, always with the same desires. And Istanbul will absorb and devour them all, reducing all to dust, nourishing itself on them, forever growing in its incandescent splendor. And you, Hussein, you already knew that someday you would return to Istanbul. Already the first time you arrived in this city, back then you'd come by train from your village. You disembarked for a week. You stayed here with relatives before you boarded the bus and then the train to southern Germany, where you were assigned a job. They put you in a line with other workers there. They inspected your naked bodies and they examined contents of your underpants. That was in the spring of 1971. Germany was not what you hoped it would be, Hussein. You'd hoped for a new life, but what you received instead was loneliness. Loneliness can never be a new life, for loneliness is a cycle, the constant repetition of the same memories inside your head, the perpetual search for new wounds within your long-departed ego, the longing for those people you left behind. But what could you do, Hussein? You couldn't just return back to your village, and so you stayed, and you did the things you had to do, so that your coming here would at least make sense. How time flies. Who knows? Maybe you'll never go back to Germany again. Maybe you'll just stay here. Maybe Amina and the children will also stay after they arrive and see how perfectly you've arranged the apartment for them. Maybe Umit will just finish school here. Maybe Perihan and Hakan too will fall in love here and finally want to get married. You tremble at the thought, Hussein, but why? You should have realized long ago that your fears for your children seldom guide you to the right decisions. Yes, you smile, Hussein, and well you should, for today is a good day, perhaps the best day of your life.